Morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, the 13th day of May, 2025. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope your family's safe and healthy. And I hope the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders, who every day are doing their best to save lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage, keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are helping those that are victims of prostitution and child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators. Double curses on the profiteers. Double curses on the perverts who create the demands that cause these evil industries to exist. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and military veterans homeless in the United States. Blessings upon them. For theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night at Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks pushed the Celtics to elimination. One game from elimination in a 121-113 game that the Knicks stuck to the script we talked about yesterday. It started off I was frustrated because the first 5 minutes of the game, Mikal Bridges' head was in his behind and he was fading off of Derek White. And Derek White started the game for three or four three-pointers in a row. And the reason why is because he was open. And the reason he was open is because Mikal was sloughing off him. But then Tibbs calls timeout. And when he came back in, Mikal Bridges from that moment on was three-quarter court on Derek White. I don't know why it didn't click to come out like that, but it clicked. And Tibbs calls the timeout. Mikal gets it, probably got reamed a little bit, came out and was picking up White from three-quarter court and staying home on him. And White ended up, he started off 4 out of 5 from three. After that, after the 4 out of 5, he went 2 of 6 from three. That was the difference. And see, this is the thing. Jason Tatum was going off, but this is the thing that you should pay attention to going forward. The Knicks stuck with the game plan. They did not allow Jason Tatum, who shot 7 threes, and Derek White, who hit a 6 all told. They did not allow their hot streaks to take the Knicks out of the game plan. The game plan would work. You just got to stick with it. And if you notice, some of the threes that Tatum was hitting were from way beyond the arc. It wasn't like he was at the line of the arc and had an open three that the Knicks had been giving him in the past and other teams too. No, he had to back up way from the arc. And the one that Al Horford hit was like 30 feet. If you're shooting from that distance, you let them. Just stay in front of them. And eventually, they'll come back to earth. Okay? But if you just can't have them have wide open threes with nobody around them and plenty of time to shoot, no. And the Knicks did not give him that. Peyton Pritchard was 2 of 7 from three. He's 2 of 7. Now, he did put an AI crossover spin move on Deuce that was bad. But overall, he was on lock too. He had 12 points, 2 of 7 from three. He had 2 of 2 from the line. The Knicks did a tremendous job sticking with the game plan yesterday. And just as we talked about, the biggest lead that the Celtics had was 14. But when you're watching the game, you got the sense that wasn't going to hold. You could just see that the Knicks just hanging around was going to eventually take over. And they did. And this time, it started in the third quarter. And again, we talk about Mikal. Yeah, even though he started the game with his head in his behind, he got it straightened out quick in the first quarter. And even though he was doing some dumb turnovers, his fourth quarter answers. And this is what we've been saying the whole year. All of the idiots out here complaining he fades away too much. He needs to go to the basket more. He needs to get to the line more. All of that idiocy, I told y'all, when you get to the playoffs, you're going to be glad you got that dude. And look what we got. Look at this. And the thing is, what we talked about yesterday, the Knicks taking Aguayo's hardest punch and not blinking. Celtics took 48 threes yesterday. That's their average. Whereas the other day they hit 20 out of 40. Last night was 18 for 48, which is still good. 38% from three is excellent. But the Knicks took that punch and came back. And what do we always say? Never bet against Jalen Brunson. When they was talking about a week ago, right? Will the Knicks lose in 5? Will they lose at 6? Will they get swept? What? Anyway, now 39 for Brunson, and and wait a minute. Let me gloat a little bit. I told y'all when Mitch Rob come back, there was going to be a problem. I told you. The NBA was going to have a problem when Mitch Rob came back. And he was being brought back slowly. We need Mitch Rob to play more minutes. You need to calm down. I kept telling a lot of you knuckleheads out here, it'll come. Last night, Mitch Robinson played 25 minutes. And he's only scored 4 points. But did you see? First of all, the game was won on the boards. There was the defense and the boards. And again, I want to tell some of you that are so offensively focused that you can't understand pro ball. You need defense to win championships. Never mind all of the crap about we need more ball movement. We need OG to score. All that happens if they play defense, which they did yesterday. And Mitchell Robinson, the game was run on the boards. The Knicks beat them on the boards badly. They beat them on the boards. Last night, the Knicks had 43 rebounds to the Celtics 31. And the Knicks had 13 offensive rebounds to the Celtics 7. And if you saw, Mitch Rob started the game in the first half, he had 5 boards. 4 of them were offensive rebounds and getting second shots. In the playoffs, see, in the regular season, it's big, but in the playoffs, it's huge. To give the teams, right now, you got 8 teams left in the NBA playoffs, right? Each conference in their final 4. When you get to this point in the playoffs, all 8 teams have certain things in common. They're really good. All of them are. These are your best 8 teams in the league, at this point. They all play defense, elite defense. And so that's what they have in common. So anytime you get an advantage of a second shot opportunity on a possession, that is huge. Just like every basket. What we've been saying, 1 game at a time, 1 possession at a time. Every possession is huge. And so for Mitch Rob, he was getting them second opportunities. He ended up the game. Well, how many offensive boards? He ended up the game with 5 offensive boards, 3 defensive boards. And then, of course, there's the stat that you don't see. How many times did he cause the Celtics to hesitate because he's standing in the middle ready to swat their mess? See? So, and not only that, he's better. Before he was injured, he was all what I just said. But now, he has added to that the ability to guard ones. He could guard ones. He can guard 1 through 5. Legit. Mitchell Robinson can guard 1 through 5. He always had that ability to get from, like I said, my recollection is standing under the basket, knocked on the floor under the basket, gets up from under the basket, blocks the 3-point shot. Same play. That's indicative of what I know about Mitchell Robinson. And he's added to that, you want to switch? You think you got an advantage because he's got to guard Peyton Pritchard or Jason Tatum? Nah. No, he could lock you down still. And, prayers for Jason Tatum. That I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen that a lot of times. That's an Achilles. What you saw last night was an Achilles. He planted his right foot, and when he went to push off of it, it crumpled. That's an Achilles. And how bad the Achilles is, we will find out today. They're going to do the MRI, but he's done. He's done for a year. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's done for a year. They hopefully it's not, career. I don't think it's career. These days, the way the new sports medicine is, stuff that might have been career ending in the 80s is not in the 2020s. It's not. Like if Bernard King had gotten that same knee injury today, he'd be back in a year. It wouldn't even be a question. And he'd be back stronger than ever. But it wasn't like it is now. So with Jason Tatum, we pray for him, but I'm very confident he'll be back. It's going to take a year, and he's going to be back, and he's still a young dude. I mean, Jason Tatum is only, 27, 28? He's in his prime. So he'll be back, and he's going to be dangerous as ever when he comes back. But he's not going to be able to play in the rest of these playoffs. And it's like Jason Tatum. If Let me see how old he's 27, so he just turned 27. So the boy will be back, and he'll still be in his prime. Nobody wants to go through that injury. That's got to be devastatingly painful too. I really felt bad for him, but especially when you see on the replay. When I saw that, I knew immediately that's an Achilles, and we just gotta pray for him. He's gonna be done for the series. He's done for the season. He's probably done for most of next season. But without Tatum, it's like, okay, can Golden State win without Curry? Right? Can Cleveland win without Donovan Mitchell or Mobley? Can Indiana win without Halliburton and Nembhard? That's what we're talking about, right? No. Can Oklahoma City be Oklahoma City without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? No. Can Denver have any shot at even a playoff spot without the Joker? No. That is the same impact Boston will be in without Jason Tatum. You're talking about one of the 5 best players on planet Earth, Jason Tatum. One of the 5 best players on planet Earth. And so if he's not available, they are done. They're done. Now the Knicks still got to go out and beat them now. They still got to handle business with methodical class professionalism, which I expect him to do. Like I'm so happy last night. I could not believe that Mikal Bridges is gonna come out and start the game fluffing off of Derek White. He is their best spot-up 3-point shooter, aside from Pritchard, and you sloughing off him. And he hits 4 threes. Tibbs calls timeout, gets in that boy ass. He comes back out, picks that man up 3/4 court, and stayed home the rest of the night. That's what he's supposed to do, and it worked. It worked. See, so then of course you get into the third quarter. Now there were stupid calls, but I have to give it to the referees. There was an even number of stupid calls on both sides. A couple of the calls on the Celtics, I was like, I can't believe they called that, but I'll take it, right? And it's the same with the Knicks. Some of them, at least 2 fouls that was called on Josh Hart were not fouls at all. The one they called a blocking foul was not a blocking foul. And there was a couple of calls like that. But it was really, that's the key thing. It was even on both sides. Both sides got the benefit of bad calls. Now, the Knicks got the worst of it, I will say, because the stats tell you that. The Knicks only took 12 foul shots. The Celtics took 26. Okay? So that tells you it was way in favor of the Celtics. But even though, and that's what I'm always telling you, even if the refs suck, which they did last night, even if somebody goes off, which Tatum did last night, if the Knicks stick to their game and they're healthy, they could play with anybody. And they showed that last night. So there was 26-12 in favor of the Celtics on the free throws. They shot 38% from the three, whereas the Knicks shot 35. They hoisted up 48 threes. The Knicks only shot 34 of them. But we the victors. And the thing is, even though Tatum got hurt, it was the fourth quarter, and the Knicks were coming. It wasn't like Tatum was stopping the Knicks from doing what they was going to do. The Knicks were still going to win that game. But Jason Tatum, that was the 1-2 from Alexis Arguello. 42 points. He hit 7 threes. He was ridiculous last night. But it wasn't enough. And this is the thing. Y'all know how when the Knicks are not playing right? Brunson has a tendency to try to play hero ball. Tatum was playing hero ball last night. And I hear him, but, every time down, I'm yelling at the TV, he is going to shoot. He is going to shoot every time down because he was taking every shot. He took 28 shots. The next highest was Brown with 16. And that's the way it was going to go. He was going to shoot. And I was glad of that. Just like we know with Brunson, when he tries to be, the hero and take all the shots and the ball stops moving, it ain't going to work. Well, I knew that wasn't going to work either. The Knicks playing defense the way they was playing defense, that's exactly what we want. And you know what? Look, the Knicks had 25 assists, Celtics had 15. And it was basically due to Jason Tatum taking all the shots. Okay, the ball stopped moving. And Tatum, like I said, you see how great that boy was. What you gonna do? He was getting the shots that he wanted. He was getting to his spots. But you can't have one dude just take over the whole offense and win in the league, especially in the playoffs. You need them dudes to win because they hit you in clutch, like Jalen Brunson. But when you're trying to take over the game and play hero ball, that ain't gonna work. That might work on West 4th Street. That might work on 143rd, 144th, right? That might work, in Brooklyn or in the Bronx. It ain't gonna work at Madison Square Garden. It ain't gonna work in the league, okay? And so I was very happy seeing all that. I didn't even watch the score a lot of time because I was like, I know the Knicks are coming here because you could see it. Tatum taking all the shots. They were staying home with their men. Look, they let Jalen Brown shoot threes. Look at this. Brown, 2 of 8. See, the only time Brown was really effective is when he was going to the basket, and that's what he does. He's very physical going to the basket. But if you let him shoot threes, he ain't Jason Tatum. He ain't going to do that. See, so every time he had 2 threes, I wasn't worried. In fact, I was happy. I said, let that dude get happy and keep shooting threes because we good. And then when they double KP or they double whoever they need to double, it was Jalen Brown's man, like I said, because you could afford to leave him open at 3-point line, okay? And then the combination of Mitch Robb and Cat, they put Mitch Robb in there with Deuce, they was +9. That's when the run really started. And by the time they took Mitch Robb and Deuce out, the Knicks was in the lead. They was up 5 or 7, something like that. So that's how that's going to roll. Now, look, check this out. They still got to handle business in Boston. I'm very confident they will, especially in Boston. But in Indiana, it's 3-1 on Cleveland. And why? Mobley missed at least one game. I think he missed 2. And I know Mitchell missed at least one game. See, they cannot win without Mobley. Mobley is the guy that put them over the top for them to be the top seed. Mobley was that guy when he got drafted. He just needed time to grow. He was a little sprout. Now he's growing into a full-grown tree. And the boy is tough. And he's going to be tough next year. He's not even in his prime yet. So Cleveland, as long as they keep their team together, they're going to be good. But Mobley was hurt at least 1 or 2 of the games, and that cost him. See, in the playoffs, like I said, you can't miss a guy like that. Like last year, y'all remember, we missing Juju. We missed for part of the playoffs OG between the elbow and the hamstring, and then against Indiana, Brunson sprained his ankle, if you recall. So you can't win when your main guys are hurt in the playoffs. You depended on your bench, but you want them to carry you for certain times, but you don't want to have to depend on them. And that's what happened, So with Cleveland, they're dependent on guys that are not Mobley, not Mitchell, and Garland's been in and out. So y'all always complaining about Tibbs and how many minutes he plays as players. I want y'all, please, some of y'all become watchdogs for me, would you please? Anytime you see that crap, will you please put it in check? Because you seeing what's happening right now? And Mikal Bridges is a marathon runner. He John Havlicek. I just decided that. I was like, man, what? This boy is running the whole game. And in your 4th quarter, he's in his finishing kick. And that's why he's able to look like he's got more energy than everybody else. That's where that skinny come in. That's where that skinny come in. So, yeah, beautiful win last night. It was exactly according to script. They stuck with the game plan. You get the ball to Brunson at the end of the game over. And that's exactly what they did. Now, they got to go to Boston. Got to finish these dudes off. Boston is going to be playing inspired basketball on Wednesday. No Jason Tatum. They're going to want to win one for the Gipper. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to come correct. Stick with the game plan. But this is the thing, though. Game plan doesn't change. See, they've been exposed. And I mean, I'm not saying that Boston is a great team now. Somebody said they ain't got no ball handlers. I was like, I don't know what the hell you talking about. They only had last night 12 turnovers, and the Knicks had 12 turnovers. They're a great ball handling team. Everybody in the starting 5 can handle the rock, okay? So I don't know what that guy was talking about. They're lacking ball handling. Oh, my God, you're lacking basketball acumen. But anyway, they're going to come out with playing inspired ball. Last night, I looked at the interviews from the Boston players and the coach, and there was a subdued locker room, like somebody died because of Jason Tatum. So they're gonna want to win one for the Gipper. They're gonna come out strong, but they can't play their game any different than they play. That's how they play. They're gonna be throwing up threes. Without Jason Tatum, though, it's gonna be tough because now you can let Jalen Brown shoot threes. You got to stay with Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, all the rest of them. You got to stay with them. And you got a better shot to stay with them if there's no Jason Tatum that you got to watch and hopefully double. So I think we'll be in good shape. It's not a given. This is the league. But the game plan is simple. The game plan is simple for the Knicks. Stick with your man. Stay home and play that game. Mitch Rob could bring him off the bench like you did. Keep him healthy, and we'll be in good shape. Now, if you're talking about Knicks against Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals, if you recall, the beginning of the season, somebody said, well, what do you think? I said, if the Knicks get to the Eastern Conference Finals, it's a very successful season. Look where we at. We're one step away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, think about it. If the Knicks were to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, they'd be the home team because they're the 3rd seed. Indiana's the 4th seed. That means 4 games at Madison Square Garden. And look here. Let me just tell you something else. Look at this. So Juju and them beat Golden State last night. Okay, and Juju and them is up 3-1, right? They up 3-1 on Golden State, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, they up 3-1. Right? So they just beat Golden State in Golden State last night. They up 3-1 and they going back to Minnesota. So now look here. Oklahoma City and Denver are tied. Why is that significant? If Denver, by some miracle, was to be able to beat Oklahoma City in a 7-game series, I still can't fathom that they're even with them. But if they were to beat Oklahoma City in a 7-game series, and it's Denver against Minnesota, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm taking Juju in them. Can you imagine the Knicks against Minnesota in the finals after the trade? Talk about storybook. And guess what? The Knicks would have the better record. Look here. This is getting exciting, man. So right now, we just got to finish off these leprechauns. Let's finish off these leprechauns. And then we can focus on Indiana. Indiana's good now. Indiana is better than they were last year because Halliburton's grown a couple, since, he's grown a little bit. He's grown some nuts, so he's a bit better. I can't stand him. He's not in the same class as Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, but he's not one of my favorite guys either. Mouthy as he is, but he's maturing a little bit. And they are good, man. They don't get to this far. And Obi Toppin is balling. Somebody said, well, maybe we can get Obi back. Maybe we can go get Jordan too. That ain't going to happen. They just paid him $58 million. He ain't going nowhere. And they shouldn't let him go anywhere. He played 21 minutes in the last game, scored 20 points. He was 9 of 14. He was only 1 of 4 from 3, which means he was getting to the bucket. No, we ain't getting Obi back. There's no going back in life. You just go forward. So but I'm happy for Obi though. I'm happy for Obi. Hopefully they dispatch the Cavaliers and it's be us and them. Let's do our thing. So it's exciting time to be a Knicks fan. Just check this out, Knicks Nation. It's the 13th of May, and we still playing basketball. So enjoy the game. Enjoy the Tuesday. Relish the win. Got work to do tomorrow. Shalom.